Hello.
Hello, PJ. It's Igor here.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, doing well, thanks. How about yourself?
Doing good. Doing good.
Excellent.
What can I do for you guys?
Thanks. First off, thanks a lot for joining on such short notice. Really appreciate your flexibility here.
No problem.
Maybe let me give you just 60 seconds of context so you understand broadly what it is that we're trying to get out of the call, and
Okay.
go from there.
Sounds good.
So, very briefly, Con Ed in New York issued an RFP for creating the implementation plan for their substation operations team reorganization. So effectively, what they're interested in is really kind of moving from their current very regional structure of the substation operations to a much more functional structure. And at a high level, and by the way, this is public information, so nothing new there. At a high level, they're organized. Their substation operations team is organized by having sort of a central planning team, a protective systems testing team, and then three very regional teams that operate the substations. One is in kind of Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. One is in Manhattan, and one is in the Bronx. So it's right now super siloed, and what they want to do is move to a much more regional structure of specifically the operations teams, so that they can share best practices and get some efficiencies. So let me just ask. So the regional substation ops teams, they're pretty much do they all report to one substation or officer level type person, or are they just set up by region, or? Yeah, they all report to one vice president. So all three of the regional teams report to one vice president for substation operations, who then reports up to the head of operations and then the president of the company.
Okay, but the other areas that you mentioned, system protection and so on, those are separate from the regional folks?
The substation operations has a head of planning, a head of protective system testing, and then a head of region 1, head of region 2, head of region 3, and those are all peers, all 5 of those folks.
Right, but do all those functions report to a region director or whatever the title is? Or are they separate from the 3 regions that you described? 3 regions, I think, right?
Yeah. And they're
do the other functions? They're separate?
Yeah. So there's a planning function which reports to the vice president. There's a protective systems function which reports to the vice president. And then there are 3 region heads, all 3 report to the vice president. So it's these 5 peers that report to the vice president.
And those are, the vice president is only in charge of substations or mainly?
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds like it's a pretty functional organization.
Well,
I mean, when you look at how you describe, I mean, the way I think about function, when you think about the substation function, it's all coming up through one person. Is I guess what I'm trying to confirm.
Yeah, I think
correct?
From that perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from that perspective it makes sense. I think it's just kind of taking it one level deeper that they're trying to move from this regional operations teams to a much more functional operations team.
I got you. Yeah, people think about functions. You and I can describe it different ways, but I think I've got what you're talking about now.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are really 2 things that I'm trying to get out of the call. One is to understand actually in much more detail kind of what the key roles are within the operations teams themselves within substations, and what the key processes are. So I really need to kind of go deep here, understand kind of what who are the people that are in there typically, and what are the key processes that they're responsible for.
Sure.
And then the second part of the interview then is